Hey guys, welcome back to Duthie Dining. I hope you've been enjoying all the videos so far. This week we are doing one of my ultimate favorites. We are making butter chicken with homemade roti. If you've never had roti, it's basically like an Indian flatbread or tortilla. And I took a poll on my Instagram a couple weeks ago and you guys voted for this one. So if you want to visit my Instagram page and start voting on future recipes, you can visit it here. Otherwise, tune in. We're gonna make this butter chicken together. You are not gonna believe how easy it is to make and how delicious. 15 minutes, we can whip it up. We're gonna do it. It's one of my absolute favorites. So if you wanna see how to make it, keep on tuning in. Okay, it is butter chicken time. So let's roll on with the ingredients. Let's bust this out really quick. This is a 30-minute meal around my house. We love it. I think you will too. Who doesn't love butter chicken anyway? But this one is particularly fast and the whole family's probably gonna love it. So in here I have 1 diced onion. We've got heavy whipping cream and plain Greek yogurt, which is gonna all come later once we're cooking it. We've got the spices. We've got some turmeric, some chili powder, some cinnamon, surprise ingredient, and some ginger, and of course some salt. We've got some tomato paste, which again will come later. We've got 2 garlic cloves, or you'd need 3 if yours aren't as like gigantic as mine are. And then we have got some chicken. I've already got another diced up here. You can use chicken thigh. We have tender in chicken tenders in our fridge, so I'm using those, but chicken thigh stays really moist and good. So I have already mixed my spices up into a little mug like I like to do. If you want to know all the amounts of each of the spices that I use, you can click on the drop down menu, click on show more, and you can see a specific measurements of each of the spices that I use. So let's just dive in here. We're going to quickly dice this garlic. Okay, so we've got our garlic in a nice fine dice here. So I'm going to take all of my garlic and add it to my onions directly. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is, of course, we're making butter chicken, so we're going to need butter. But I really only use like 1.5 tablespoons of butter, so it's really not that much for butter chicken. So here we go. We're ready to dive in. We're gonna pour our spices over our chicken, let it sit in the fridge for a little while to get those flavors melding into that chicken, massaging it with flavor, and then we're gonna cook this thing up. It's gonna take no time. So here we go, on to the next phase. Okay, so before we start cooking, we are gonna quickly dice up our chicken. So I just put them all together kind of like this, and I'm just going to do bite-sized pieces, just like this, chopping it up. You want to do this last or first on something where you're not going to continue chopping, so you don't get that sickness that is eating raw chicken juice. We don't want that on our hands, right? Okay, so there we go. We're all done. We're going to add this to the rest of our bowl of chicken. And there we go. Tastes as quick as that. Okay, so we've got our chicken all diced up here, and here's that spice mixture that I was talking about. This is what it looks like with all the turmeric and chili powder and salt and cinnamon and ginger. So we're going to pour this right over the chicken, just like that. And we are going to stir this up. All right, let's get this a little stir. The nice thing about this butter chicken is all the spices that you're going to need is right in this spice mixture. So you just want to thoroughly coat all of the chicken into the spice mixture. And then while we start on everything else, we're going to toss this whole thing into the fridge so we can let these spices just jive with the chicken so that we've got all the flavor. Ooh, the flavor. All right, so let's go. We're almost there with this dish. We've got a hot pan. So So the first thing we're gonna do is take our just over a tablespoon of butter, put it right down. Who doesn't love the smell of butter melting? No one. So we're gonna let that start to melt. And once it's all melted, we're gonna go right in with our onion and garlic mixture, straight into the pan. Just like that, easy peasy. So what I'm gonna do is let these onions soften, let them become translucent with the garlic. And then once they're soft, we're gonna go in with the chicken and the rest of the steps. All right, so once our onions and garlic are soft and translucent, what I like to do is brush them over to the sides just a little bit. And we're gonna take our marinated spiced chicken here and put it right down. And I'll show you once we're on to the next step. Okay, so once your chicken is mostly no longer pink, we're gonna go in with the last couple of steps here. By the way, it is smelling amazing up in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna measure out a cup of heavy cream. So, here we go, a cup. And we've got exactly a cup here of the plain Greek yogurt. Here we go. Before we go in with that, we're gonna go in with 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And I'm just gonna kind of measure that out by eye. Okay. All right, now once that's mostly stirred in there, you can go right in with the cream. And right in with the plain yogurt. Okay, so we're gonna stir all this in. We're gonna turn the heat down to kind of just a little bit of a low so we can simmer here and all the flavors can melt together into this amazing flavorful butter chicken. Okay, so our butter chicken is all ready. The sauce has thickened up. It's rich and creamy. The chicken is tender. I let it sit for just about 10 minutes until the sauce thickened. And it is ready to go. So we're going to form this until it just forms. We're going to roll them out to little balls And then we're gonna fry them on the pan in some butter, and they are so tasty and obviously so easy to make. So what I've done here for the Indian roti is I've added a little bit more flour if the dough was too wet, and now it's really the perfect pliable but not too wet texture. And I've let it sit here in a little bowl. You can pop it in with some olive oil, let it rest, and it'll be easier to work out when we're ready to cook it up. All right, so what we're gonna do next, we have a floured surface and a small round of the roti, and I'm just working it with my hand. And then I'm gonna take a rolling pin and go from the outside in. Now if it's sticking a little bit, I can just take some and wipe it here onto the rolling pin. And we're just gonna work our way out. If it doesn't look perfect, even better, because it has that homemade look. And that's what we're going for. All right, so once we've done it out to a little bit of like a tortilla size, we're gonna stop it there. And now comes the most fun part, which is frying it up in the pan and getting it nice, hot, and ready for our butter chicken here. Okay, so here we go. It's time to cook up our roti. So I've got a little bit of butter here. You could use olive oil. And that's gonna go right into the pan. We're just gonna let that cover the surface. And I have my pan on sort of a medium to high heat. So we're gonna let this roti have some browned bits. And here we go, right in. And you'll see as the heat goes, it'll start to bubble up. All right, so we're ready. It's starting to puff up, as you can see. So I'm gonna take my spatula here. Wow. Amazing. We're just gonna let it cook a couple on the sides. I'm gonna fry up the other ones, and then we're gonna dive into a taste test. All right, we've got our delicious butter chicken right here. Amazing and thickened and creamy. And we've got our homemade roti, Indian flatbread right here to dip and go with it. Amazing. Let's dive into that taste test. Let's take a little bit of our roti, our Indian flatbread. Let's just break off a little bit, just like that. We're gonna take some sauce and some chicken, you better believe it. Just like that. Look at that. Okay, who's ready for this? I'm so excited. This looks absolutely amazing, so let's dive in. The bread is soft. It's amazing. The butter chicken is so creamy. It's so good. If you don't make anything else, you have got to make that. So if you want to try this out for yourself, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get all further Duthie Dining videos. And be sure to follow me along on Instagram at Duthie Dining.